Hello, welcome to World of Tanks. In this video I'll be talking about some changes that were made to the game in the most recent patch. This is version 8.8 for any of you watching it in the far future. Changes concerning this guy, the T26E4 Super Pershing. So this is a premium tank. It's the only tier 8 premium that I myself own. And for a long time this was kind of the cheaper alternative to many of the other tier 8 premiums. You could pick one of these up for 7,200 gold, where you're kind of looking at around 12,000 for your other tier 8 heavies, your Lerva, your IS-6, your T34, those guys. However, there were some downsides. I mean, it's a medium for a start, so you haven't got the armour. You could dispute whether the weak spots are more obvious or less obvious. There's that, and it wasn't a particularly fast medium either. It was kind of a slow tank with not a great gun, but it made credits, and for the gold, pretty good deal. Now in patch 8.8, in the patch notes, it says the Super Pershing has been rebalanced. Front armour and some other factors or something like that. I'll get a picture up of the actual patch notes. So I'm going to have a look at some replays at some matches I've had since the patch changed and see if I can tell. So to start, I'll just go over the old weak spots of the Super Pershing just briefly for those of you who've not driven it, but maybe not even fought it in battle if you're not at tier 8 yet. So the most famous weak spot, the Super Pershing, because if the Super Pershing driver is doing it right, he'll be looking at you head on, so we'll look at it in here. This is the big weak spot here. It's not the missile tubes themselves, it's this hatch behind, but your shot will go through the missile tubes and you'll hit the hatch, and that's the big weak spot. Or other weak spots are just kind of round the cheeks here, underneath the front plate, and this machine gun port there. So you can see that even when it's looking you head on, which is where all its armour is, kind of sides, obviously, you want to be shooting it here, even at an angle, taking out its tracks is a good move. Again, you can see under that front plate, obviously behind, I don't have to tell you, shoot the engine. You can, even at the front, there's plenty of places that if you know what you're doing, you can shoot it, hit some weak spots, do some damage. But this armour it does have, these front plates, this front plate here, or at least in 8.7, this armour was incredibly tough. It was spaced armour, and most shots aren't going to pen it. Even like tier 10 high pen guns weren't going to get through some of that armour. So let's have a look at some replays now and see what's changed. Right, so this is the first match I had in the Super Pershing on the new patch. This is version 8.8, and we'll just speed up a bit here, and okay, let's slow down. So the first visual change you see to the Super Pershing is around its front plate. You'll notice, well, maybe if you haven't seen it before, but maybe you have to take my word for this, that the front plate on the Super Pershing is less pronounced than before. Previously, you can't really tell from the front, but from the side it would like be far more pronounced. It would stick out more, and that would also mean the angle would be sharper. So for those of you familiar with the mechanics of the game, if a shell hits a steeper angle, it has a higher chance of bouncing off and doing no damage. So that already, there's a higher chance of it penetrating through the front plate. If we just pause here, can we zoom in? If you look now just behind the front plate, you can just about see that spaced armour there. The second plate underneath the top front plate there. That used to be a lot further out as well. You could easily see that behind the wheels before, where you now have to kind of search a bit. Again, this means less well protected on that front plate.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
So, you know, okay, so I'm getting shot already here. But, and again there. Now you can see so far, like, who's that? That's a, I'll just pause this. That's an IS. Okay, that was the first penetrating shot. Now, straight away, that's gone through the front plate. I mean, I don't know if that's, you'd say that's a weird angle it's been hit at. Maybe it has. It would might bounce up. No, but it's just gone straight through there. So it's hard to say whether that would have done before. I guess someone's shooting me from the hill up there, so they have a bit of an angle on me. But you can see the IS's shots, which had hit the front plate on the turret, haven't gone through. And again, there's another one there. The IS and who's that? There's a Comet could be shooting me. There's also a Jagdpanther 2 up there. It's hard to know if he's shooting me yet. That might have been his shot that went through, because, you know, tank destroyer, he might have that extra pen. This is a T43. So I'm kind of I'm alone for a start, but I'm kind of holding this position on my own, which is one of the great points about the Super Pershing was always that if you get into a good position, you can just So I'm starting to take a lot more fire. I'll finish my sentence. If you get into a good position, you can just hold it. And I'm shooting that Carnarvon now. And he's shooting me, of course. Which is kind of the thing we care a bit more about. Lots of shots hitting my front plate there. But most are bouncing off. I mean, I've taken 2-3 shots of damage at this point, but I say most have just been deflected. So there's some support with the VK here. So it's still got that armour at range. Obviously, close quarters, I'm a bit panicked now because he can actually aim at my weak spots at this point. Theoretically, of course. Which is why I fell back there. It's being hasty, missed a shot. But you've still got that armour on the turret. On the gun mantle. Okay, let's just pause there. Another shot through the hull. You can say, oh, would it have been the Jagdpanther? I'm not sure if we can tell. I think it's quite likely the Jagdpanther 2 would be shooting at me at this point. But, I mean, look at that. It's kind of almost 1, 2, 3 shots straight through the hull. Let's carry on. But all the shots off my onto the gun mantlet, you can see it's kind of, again, there's another one there that actually went through my spaced armour and bounced off the turret. And you would find you'd get that kind of thing a lot more with the hull previously. Like shots into the hull, complete waste of time. They just bounce off one of the spaced armour plates. Let's speed up now. Remember, if anything interesting happens from this point, I'll take a shot into the Jagdpanther. Let's slow down. Carnarvon there gets killed. So I mean, I think it's a win at this point. And although they didn't really contest that top of the map there, I was able to hold it on all on my own. But so, you know, it's maybe not a great test of the Super Pershing there, but it gives you an idea of what's changed, what's different, and what's the same, more importantly. I think the turret armour still gives you that edge. Look, most of those shots I took into the front of the turret didn't do any damage. They were just bounces later on. And I'll just stop this now. If you put this back on, we can see that they have 2 tanks left, both of which are over there. And thank you, T34, thank you for that. And I'm not going to get over there in time. Spoilers, we do win. So, just looking at where I've taken shots on the tank, the shots that I took to the turret didn't do damage. They went through the spaced armour more often than not, but then bounced off. There's still a fair bit of armour here at the front. These shots to the hull did do the damage. They were penetrations. So I think as a Super Pershing driver, there we go, that's the win there. As a Super Pershing driver, you need to be conscious of this. Your hull is not as strong as it used to be from the front. If you can compensate for that, though, again, get into a good hull down position. I wasn't quite in one there because obviously took a few shots, but if you can still make this tank work for you. Right, this is the standard battle on Lakeville. Again, another match in the Super Pershing after the patch. Let's speed it up, and I'll end this video with this replay, which has some pretty good illustrations of how good the armour is on the Super Pershing. This is just shooting some guys in the centre there, trying to cross the bridge. So rolling up, slow down, normal speed. So we're rolling up here at the church in Lakeville. And we've got a decent presence in here. We've got a presence in the valley, presence down the centre. So it's all going pretty well so far. I'm a bit nervy about that T44, the KV3 as well. I'm concerned he'd be shooting me in the side. But this is where it gets interesting. So the KV3 hasn't been a problem. I've rolled down here, and we've rolled straight into this IS. And he's knocked my tracks off. Well, he's damaged them at least. But I'm going to be shooting him, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to look at the front of my tank here and see where he shoots me and what it does. So he shot me there directly through the centre of the new lower glacis plate. Still bounced off and did minor damage. That may have even been high explosive, judging by the amount of...
We didn't even scratch them.
Is it high explosive? Is he on some kind of dirt gun? I don't know. But minor damage there. And that was a hit directly to this supposedly nerfed lower hull. We've got this T32. Again, Super Pershing driver here. You're keeping your front of your hull, your front face directly towards the enemy, tracking him so he can't get behind me. It's standard stuff. And is he aiming at my weak spot maybe? I don't know. Where did he hit me there? If anywhere, it's hard to say. Maybe he didn't. So again, we can see the gun still isn't great on the Super Pershing. I didn't actually do much damage to him. Mostly bounced off him, but my team dealt with it while I stood there and took the punishment. You've got to play the role that the Super Pershing lends itself to, and the role of the Super Pershing is to have the armour, to be the defence. Let guys loop round. Now, I'll slow down here, because this is for me quite a telling part. So I'm looking here at this Ferdinand. I'm shooting. I missed the shot. Whatever. So he's going to shoot me. No damage. Penetration through the spaced armour. Bounce off the hull. Again, we saw this a lot in the previous replay, the one on Arctic region. It's still holding up. It's meant to have been nerfed. It's meant to have been kind of made less good, but you're still getting those bounces. You're still getting that resistance to damage that it had before. I'm going to snipe. Oh, I got a kill. I was surprised, if anything. Ferdinand hits me in the side. Again, not particularly protected. Taking off the tracks of Super Pershing. Pretty good move. Turn to face him, he's already dead. Whatever. In this time, however, the side of the map has died. The left side, I guess our right side at the start, has all died, and they're probably approaching the base at this point. And I'll speed up, get to the conclusion of the game. They start capping before we do, and we just can't make it. There's no more combat, so I can't really talk about the Super Pershing anymore. But yeah, it's a loss. We couldn't cap in time. So, in summary, I don't think the changes to the Super Pershing have been that significant. We were seeing some shots pen there on the front plate on Arctic region, and it's hard to say, they penned and they wouldn't have done in the previous patch. You can't really measure that, which is a pain, but there we go. But at the same time, I didn't feel it was completely useless. We saw in the second game and in the first game as well that it was, the armour on the hull, not the hull, the turret was really strong still, and it was bouncing a lot of stuff, and you were still able to play that steel wall tank, the guy who is defending a point or a bottleneck or something like that. Now, I didn't have any Tier 9 games in there, and I couldn't really find any that had Tier 9 tanks shooting me and you could see where they penetrated and all that business. But I think it's the same as it used to be. It will struggle with Tier 9 tanks, but it's a Tier 8 that gets preferential matchmaking. Tier 9 tanks the highest it can meet, and it'll struggle, but it used to, so I don't think that's a big deal. There have been some other minor changes. Apparently it's slightly faster than it used to be, but I couldn't tell the difference. If you can, you're paying more attention than me, certainly. I don't go out racing in the thing. If you are a Super Pershing owner, you can sell it back for the full cost. There we go. You can see you can get all of your 7,200 gold back if you wanted to go and buy a different premium. I might do, I might not, I don't know. But I'm going to keep playing the Super Pershing to find out if it's worth selling or not. Few games in though, it seems much the same. I'm sure there'll be like those edge cases where, in like one time in 100, a shot will pen the hull, and that'll be the difference between you surviving and not dying and all this business, and that'd win you the game or lose you the game. But I think really, on balance, it's much the same. If you liked it before, you'll like it now. This has been Sigma D. See you next time.